Well, happy summer, ESK families. I am so hopeful that you all have been outside and playing hard and taking beach trips, swimming in those pools, and of course, knocking out all that great summer reading. The summer has been nice and a much needed break for all of us, and we are cruising right along. And as you have now received your class lists for next year, I bet you're asking that question, what exactly does next year look like for us? Well, that's a great question. And while I can't say exactly for sure what this pandemic will continue to do or how many variants we may still have to face, I can tell you that we've been hard at work tweaking our wellness plan so that we have an action response at the ready for our good days and for any potential not so good days. Our approach next year will continue a phased response, which does help make things clear and easy for us to know what to do and how to respond in any given situation. So as of right now, I'm very pleased to report that we intend to begin the year in our new Phase 4, which will include much fewer restrictions than what we endured last school year. And I've highlighted these key changes for you, and our completed plan is attached to this email. So as long as we can hold tight and our numbers in the ESK family look good, I feel very confident that we will begin the year in Phase 4. So what exactly does that look like? Well, the first thing I want to mention is that our wellness plan is no longer just for COVID. Our health team has been informed that our immune systems against some of the other germs out there, like the flu, may be a little vulnerable since we've had such little exposure this past year. So we're taking this as an illness response plan, not just for COVID, but for other strains of viruses and germs that may interrupt our school year. We've also created 2 levels of health protective guidelines. The first are proactive guidelines, which we will exercise in a Phase 4 situation. And then we have more strict guidelines for Phases 3, 2, and 1. And under our protective and proactive guidelines, we'll continue some of those great practices at school, like routine hand washing, that will stay, and frequent facility cleaning. And we're going to ask you as a family to help us by self-monitoring and appropriately responding to symptoms of illness and any potential risks of exposures that you may have had outside of school. So if there's any likely concern, then just simply stay at home and don't take that chance of risking an outbreak at school. If case activities were to rise during the school year, we may need to shift back over to strict guidelines, which would be very similar to what we exercised this past school year, like morning temp checks or face coverings, restricted access to the buildings, and modifications to the schedules during our school day. So, in Phase 4, our campus facilities will be back open for our outside guests. So, welcome back, parents. And temp checks, well, no more morning or lunchtime temp checks on a regular daily basis. We'll certainly continue to take your child's temperature if they are not feeling well and sent to the office. That also means that we can return our morning drop-off time back to 7:40 in the morning. And if you need an earlier drop-off, that's no problem. We will still have before care services in the dining hall starting at 7 o'clock. Face coverings, that's the big question everyone's been asking. We will be moving to optional face coverings for all students, employees, and visitors to the school while we're in Phase 4. Please know that we totally support your choice to continue to have your child mask if that is the case. So just let us know and our teachers can help with this added layer of protection for you and for your child. Now, if case numbers do increase in our community and if we were to have a surge of activity at ESK, then we may need to switch back to a Phase 3, which does call for stricter protocols like face coverings. But do keep in mind that this would hopefully be just a temporary period until we can get our count back down to a 0 spread. And with regards to athletics, our Phase 4 mask policy also applies here. So student athletes, you will not be required to mask while at practice or in gameplay when illness spread is at its minimum. So our competition is back on, and go Saints! Social distancing has also changed. The CDC has reduced the distance to 3 feet, and last year we were at a 6-foot distance for indoor activity. So the new change will give us a ton more room and flexibility in our learning spaces. And how about vaccines? Well, the COVID vaccine is available to individuals over 12 years of age, and it is predicted that the vaccines will extend to younger children ages 5 and up this fall. But at this time, we are not requiring you to have a vaccine or have your child vaccinated. If you do decide that is the right thing for your child, please send us in a copy of that vaccine report, and we will keep those for necessary health responses like contact tracing if we were to need to down the road. And we do need you all to stay up to date with the state requirements for other vaccines and boosters like the Tdap. But do know that we do not publish anyone's health records, which of course would include that COVID vaccine. And campus activities. Well, in phase 4, they are almost back to normal. We do plan to go back to the dining hall for our lunch, so no more box lunches and mobile app orders for our kindergarten through 8th grade. And chapel, however, well, it's a pretty confined space, especially given the wonderful enrollment growth that we have experienced. So we will continue to alternate classes for in-person chapel, just so that we can keep that 3-foot distance. Chapel will be every day, and those that aren't in the chapel will see it live streamed. And field trips, well, we've got those back on the table, and we do hope to get everyone out on day trips this year. Overnights are still on a hold right now, and if we do have a crowded bus situation where we can't keep that 3 feet, we may ask for you all to mask up during that ride. The digital platform, well, most definitely, it played a great success role when we were all in need to be quarantined at home. However, the experience just isn't the same as in-person instruction, and we want our teachers to have an undivided focus as much as possible. So we're asking all students to join us on campus for learning during phase 4. If case activity does take a turn and we need to go to the online platform during a phase 3, 2, or 1, those students that are needing to quarantine, or if we have to stay at home, of course, the online platform will open back up again at that time. And finally, we have contact tracing, and that was that preventative measure that we exercised to keep potential exposures and risks isolated from the rest of the school. Well, in a phase 4, there's no need because there's no exposures at this time. So we will not contact trace during phase 4. But if case activity, again, if that were to pick up later down in the school year, we will shift to a phase 3, and contact tracing would resume accordingly at that time. So I encourage you to please take a good look at all of our phases in the wellness plan. Contact us here at school if you have any questions, and know that we really appreciate your support in keeping our ESK family safe. You all did a fantastic job last year, and I have full confidence that we're going to have a fantastic year again this year, especially with your help. So again, I'm really encouraged by our projected numbers and the way the year is looking, getting back to normal in our ESK phase 4. I'll be back in touch soon with some more updates on our new faculty and some exciting plans that we have in store for you for next year. Until then, please carry on with your summer fun, and thank you for being a part of our ESK community.